EarthBound is a Super Nintendo JRPG from 1994 that has become a cult classic over time. This even crosses over into the speedrunning community, with the game having as many runners and people finding different ways to beat it as fast as possible. There is one runner who has taken the game further beyond anyone's expectations, but has also turned heads when others found out the method he was using. Today, we're going to dive into a controversy that could very well disqualify a strong EarthBound record. Typically when speedrunners think of beating EarthBound as fast as possible, their minds go to the debug menu speedrun that can warp you to the post-credits scene. In this case, we'll be looking at the any percent category that beats Gygas as the goal. The 80% category of EarthBound could be considered the most technical of all the categories, requiring specific inputs in certain time frames to manipulate all aspects of the game, precise movement with those inputs, and to top it all off, performing the famous stairs glitch to go out of bounds multiple times in a single run. If you want to know more about the glitches and the history of the category up to February of 2020, check out Abysssoft's excellent EarthBound World Record history video. It details a lot of the info about how the game's manip and tricks work. On March 29, 2021, a Mother 2 top runner from Japan named Octopus Cow brought down EarthBound's any percent time over a minute past the previous record. Using a new route created by Lolly Ilya, or better known as Oxwus, this cut out a save in Cave of the Past, rerouted the Gygas fight inputs, and other small optimizations. Well, there is one more thing that happened to change how the game is ran, but at the time, no one had taken advantage of it due to the category already being pushed as far as the current route would allow. Let me introduce you to this. On December 15th, 2020, the EarthBound speedrunning moderator team announced a decision to allow turbo to be used in the speedrun. This decision was made to alleviate and prevent hand pain from constant mashing, thus allowing more accessibility for the speedrun. This was allowed for mashing text only, as turbo could be used in other ways to break the game, like doing frame-perfect inputs to get past the Starman Jr. cutscene trigger. This decision fell in line with the Mother 2 speedrun rules, as they already allowed for the use of turbo in speedruns. More than likely, this was the reason why EarthBound's US version saw an influx of interest from the Japanese community around that time. All seemed well with the progression of the any percent category, until Octopus Cow submitted this run on July 11th of 2021. In EarthBound, you can play with both controllers connected at the same time. Runners have typically used one controller for mashing and one for D-pad inputs, as some have had issues with having good buttons, but a terrible D-pad that will input other directions due to odd positioning of the D-pad. After the turbo rule was implemented, runners would start using a non-turbo controller in one slot and a turbo controller in the other slot. This is due to the possibility of overmashing with the turbo controller and losing time or dropping the RNG manip. In this case, Octopus Cow used a SNES ASCII pad and a Konami command controller. What the heck is a Konami command controller? Released in September of 1993, the Konami Hisatsu command controller allows the player to program button sequences and assign them to one of the extra command buttons on the controller. Octopus Cow did this to allow for alternate A and L mashing or B and select mashing, with each button press being input every frame. A typical turbo controller has only one or two settings, and some communities limit the amount of presses per second a controller can do. The Golden Sun speedrunning community limits this to 10 per second, for example. In this case, this is much faster than what the ASCII pad can do, which isn't a problem in itself for the EarthBound speedrunning community, but some turbo controllers are made differently and have much different mash rates. In this example, during the Magicant level up sequence, both runners used turbo, Octopus Cow using the Konami controller and another top runner, Classic James, using the ASCII pad. And as it turns out, Octopus Cow finished his level up sequence 7 seconds faster than Classic James did in his PB. The main issue lies not in the turbo ability, but in the ability to assign button commands to a separate button that input each frame. This could be considered to not actually be a turbo function, but rather a custom programmable setting. For the rules of the game overall, they only allow a turbo function for the sake of text mashing, and not necessarily a programmable button. If this button were not to be allowed, it would not only disqualify Octopus Cal's 4512 any percent run, but also his most recent 4436 any percent world record that was achieved just a few days ago, which is the first ever 44 in EarthBound any percent. The most recent run that would be considered valid would be the 4515 any percent PB, still an incredibly strong time with most of the recent rerouting. This is due to him only using the single ASCII pad controller up until that point. The reason I made this video was to address the obscure situation that some turbo and command controllers bring to speedrunning, specifically EarthBound. This does not discount the considerable effort that Octopus Cal has made to improve the 80% category. I'll be leaving a link to his channel in the description if you want to watch his attempts. Tell me what you all think. Do you believe something like this is enough to disqualify times, including the controller? Or do you think they should still stand? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and stay hydrated. I'll see you all in the next video.